So I was going to ask you, this is obviously quite a challenge from a leadership perspective. You wrote a piece a while back with the Leading Edge Forum. You were talking about the expirational leader.
Yeah.
So I'm interested maybe to explore what you mean by that and who might be best suited to take on this challenge.
Yeah, it's interesting. I did work in conjunction with LEF there. And one of the things that they had also looked at was that people who are brought in as change agents or to drive change oftentimes really struggle to be the one that then implement or stay with that change long term. When we've moved through the change process and now we're into sort of just it's instantiated in the organization part, a lot of times it's hard to be that change agent and then be the change and be just the manager or the leader going forward, because you've had to push, you've had to break some glass. Some people who didn't want to go where you're going, you've had to cause disruption, you've had to cause awkwardness and even conflict in an organization to get there. And as we all know, that can impact your political capital, all sorts of things, and it may make it difficult. And so it may be that person is the one who is the right to drive the change, but then their success after the change is in question. And so we talked about, why don't we just assume that's the case and think about bringing in someone whose role is specifically has an expiration date on it. So we made up that term, called it the expirational leader, and said that you want to come in, you want to drive that change with the knowledge that I'm not here to bring in my agenda because I'm not going to stay. I'm not saying this because it benefits me. I'm not going to stay here for a set period of time. And by the way, I don't have to worry about keeping the job and making everybody happy. And so I won't compromise myself in the process because I'm not going to stay. Now, that requires you to get your HR team to actually think through the value of making sure that when that person leaves, they've got a long runway so they don't feel like they have to stay. And so part of the cost built into bringing that person in is paying them for time they're going to be gone so that they can move on to the next role and do that again. But in organizations where they have brought people in and specifically they've said, I'm going to drive this change and I know that I'm not going to stay, whether that's public or at least with the leadership team, they tend to be more effective, they tend to be less compromised, and they tend to drive it a little bit faster and harder because they don't have to stay. And when you think about how humans work, we're very tribal, and we find a tribe that keeps us safe. We don't want to mess with the tribe. And if you're driving change, you're messing with the tribe. Now, the tribe needs it. The tribe needs to change and grow, but you're still messing with them. And in some ways, they're going to start to reject you in little ways over time. And that's okay. I think we should just acknowledge that and move forward. So we created that concept. And I do some work with a colleague of mine, Terry Waters, who wrote the article with me. And he's been a CEO at a number of companies. And we've done some consulting work where we'll go in and he'll do operational and I'll do the cultural and people, and we'll be expirational leaders. We'll go in, we'll help put everything in place knowing that we're going to leave. And that's the agreement, and give them what they want. And then they can take it and own it from there. And it has proven to be more effective because we're allowed we allow ourselves to do what needs to be done because we don't have to worry about being there in 3 years. We just have to worry about getting where they need to go.